Hey, it's Robin at Fresh Face Ginger, and I am finally doing an eyebrow video for my fellow redheads. I know it's frustrating when you're a redhead to be able to find products to use on the eyebrows that work, that match your hair color. It's a constant struggle for me, so I totally understand that. The biggest frustration I have is not being able to find the best colors. I feel like stuff that is marketed to people with auburn hair, it can either be too orange or it can come out too cherry, or when you try to go for products that are more brown, they can be a bit muddy. So it's just like it's a constant struggle trying to find the right color. So I've had to use a lot of different products over the years. But I wanted to go ahead and show you today the full process of how I fill my brows in. It is something that I have to do just because my eyebrows are kind of disappearing these days. In the early 2000s, it was really popular to do the pencil thin eyebrows. And because of that, I tweezed my eyebrows, I waxed them, and it got to the point where they just won't grow back anymore. So I've had very little eyebrow hair left. They're also very light in color because they're more of a strawberry blonde color. They're not as dark as my natural hair color. Also, I'm getting some grays these days. So I've got the gray hair going for my natural eyebrow hair as well. So it's just kind of this long process. And I feel like sometimes it's hard to show in short or when I'm doing a makeup video because I feel like my eyebrows take way too long. And I'm trying to discover maybe some different products or different ways of doing it to where it'll work better and it'll take less time and maybe they'll even last throughout the day without me having to do touch-ups. I don't know. We'll see. So this is what I have to work with. You can see there's not much here when my eyebrows are clean and don't have any product on them. I want to get up close though because I want to show you exactly what I'm working with and exactly how I fill my brows in. So this is the amount of hair I have left after years of tweezing and waxing. So it's not bad. My eyebrows are not completely bald. And I do have a little bit of a boxed hair dye on them just to give them a little bit of color when I don't have any makeup on, so there's a little something there. I'm going to be using an angled brow brush like this. It's just really tiny and really skinny, and this will help me get more hair-like strokes. Also just using a mid-tone warm brown eyeshadow. It's the closest I can find to where my eyebrows don't look too orange. For now, this works for me. As I said, I'm always on the lookout for more products, so we'll see what I can find later. I always kind of brush the hair up with a spoolie first just to kind of get it in place. I'll start at the front of my brow and kind of start creating little hair strokes. They're not going to be very precise at first, and it looks like way too much. But then I start just kind of like blending it in. I just keep going quick, quick, quick like that. And then I'll do it again and just keep going until I get it filled out the way I want. And see, I'm just kind of doing upward strokes right now, trying to get it in my actual brow. And so at that front part where I really don't have a lot of hair, it takes a couple of tries just to get it like exactly where I want it. To make sure I'm kind of like building the front part of my brow. But you see how now that I've filled that in, it looks better. It looks a little more normal. And because we're creating those upward strokes, it looks more like hair instead of me just coloring it in. I just keep going all the way through the whole brow. And I try to fill in the whole thing just to make sure I'm not missing any spots. And you're just building a brow. But I feel like I don't show this enough in my quick videos because I feel like it takes so long. Like it's kind of a long process of me sitting here going over my brows and trying to get them filled in the way I want. So it can be a little bit frustrating for me because I wish it was a much faster process and it didn't take this long. But unfortunately, this is what it is. So I just keep going, keep filling it in, keep creating the strokes over and over again until I get the brow where the way that I want it to look. So it's kind of a thing where trust the process because at first, like the first few strokes or swipes of product, I may not get it quite right. And I kind of just have to play with it a bit and make some little adjustments, but you see it's starting to fill in nicely, and comparatively to the other side, this looks much better. And because I'm using powder, it is kind of clinging to the hair and it looks more hair-like. So just continuing on in the arch here and then all the way down in the tail part of the eyebrow. I see a lot of people go like super dark on the tail end of the brow. I don't like to do that because I just don't think it looks very natural. I do want it filled in. I do want to kind of get some powder on those hairs, but it doesn't have to be super dark. So here is one brow completely filled in. You can see how much of a difference that makes comparatively. I love the way this looks when it's filled in this way. It frames the eye a little bit more. There's something about it, like when your eyebrows kind of disappear, which I know happens a lot as you get older. I do feel like it kind of ages you. And so when you fill it in more like this, I feel like it does just kind of naturally give you this more youthful look. Um, and then it also just, I don't know, it just completes the face. If you're going to wear makeup, it completes the whole look. Like, don't leave the eyebrows out. But now I have them filled in with makeup, and then the last step is I kind of want to lock the hairs in place. My eyebrow hairs go kind of rogue, and so in order to get them a little more uniform and to stay kind of have that nice and fluffy look, I usually lock them in with the hair gel. I've been using this Gotta Be Ultra glued. This works pretty well. I know this isn't actually for the eyebrows and it's probably a bit much, but it works, I swear. Initially, I'll run some of the product through my brow hair just to kind of get it on there. I'm not really putting it in place just yet, but I'm just trying to get some of the gel on the actual hairs. Then any of the excess left on, I'll just kind of pull it off with a towel. Because it's a bit too much to be using all of that. It's hard to get like a really tiny amount on there, but I don't want it to be like my eyebrows are just caked in gel. Now's the part where I want to brush them into place before that kind of dries. And I kind of get some hair sticking up there, but the idea is just to work with the hair that I've got. So that, again, I don't want it to look like I just kind of Sharpied my brows on. I do want it to look like actual eyebrow hair. So I'm just trying to get it in place so it'll stay, but it also kind of has that full fluffy feathered look, I guess, and then keeps the rogue hairs under control. Just one more close-up shot of the eyebrows when they are finished, and again, we're going for a little bit of symmetry, but they're not going to be perfectly the same. The whole eyebrows are sisters, not twins thing rings true here. Just try and get it as close as you can. But that's about it. As I said before, I'm always on the lookout for brow products, especially for red hair. It's hard to find stuff. So any of my ginger friends out there, if you found products that you like that are working for you, that'll give me the look I'm going for, let me know. I would love to try it.